Next we're going to take the original throttle bodies and mount them to the new ones that are supplied in the kit. Again, the Astro Glide lube the O-rings inside here so it slides down. He says use oil. I find this stuff works better. It's thick, it's messy, but it works wonders, and it does not ruin the O-rings, and it's nice and need to get some more. And then you just take this, voila, and he supplies the bolts that go down through here. I need to press that down just a little bit more. All right. So now you can see it's nicely mated up. And I still got to push this one together a little bit more. I have to get my little hammer out. No Loctite needed on these. And again, these are small bolts, so you don't need to crank down on them and torque them to 50 foot-pounds of whatever, but they're fairly easy to do. One thing you need to make sure is the holes line up as the threads, and the new ones, they're already threaded, pre-threaded, so okay. We have now completely assembled the throttle body together. The throttle body is labeled MAG PTO. It will correspond to the nipples that are on there. Like I said previously, these Allen head bolts, they're small. I did mine hand tight. Just a little bit past that. You don't need to sit there and crank on those. They will break. It's completely seated on both, so it's nice and together. And we've got the blow-off valve, vacuum line material, and we have the boost. So on the PTO side will be the blow-off valve, which is that side over there, and the boost will hook up to the mag side. And when we hook these up, we will secure them with zip ties around the bottom of the hose and trim them up. And we will also install these two boots, silicone. They will go on so that we can get our air box connected to them. This silicone, as labeled in the instructions, has a color marking on that. That needs to go just like that on there. See, it is hitting. That will go away once we tighten that down. As you can see, I have connected the lines to the barbs on each side, fastened them with zip ties. Also, purple whatever, blue, black, whatever yours comes with, right there. And as I work this, it is not hitting. Make sure it goes nice and smooth. Now, with everything installed, we're going to hook up the wiring harness for the fuel injectors, and depending on what fuel box that you get, it might be a little slightly different. Colors are all going to be the same, but the connector might be a little different on the setup. I've also, when you look at your fuel injectors, make sure that they are at a 45-degree angle to the outside of the machine, so that when the connectors are connected, they are not going to interfere with the bolt that holds the factory harness injectors in place. So as you can see, I've rotated mine. And they just slide in place like so, and then they'll snap like that when they're there. There you go. Well, we've come to the point in the game where we are going to install that bad boy into that area right there. So as you can see, I've still got the clamps on the coolant lines. We will be removing those clamps as we hook up the banjo bolts, and what I'll do is I'll take the banjo bolts off of the turbo itself, connect everything up, and then reconnect the banjo bolts to the turbo. And hooking up the coolant lines, and got the banjo fittings inside the hose clamps on. Going to connect the coolant bottle one to the back side of the turbo housing. Okay, and I go set this up in place a little bit. And we will connect the front side banjo bolt, copper washer on the outside, copper washer on the inside. And then we'll tighten all that up. With all the coolant lines hooked up, I've set the turbo and the downpipe inside the housing, mocked it all up, marked the hole where I need to drill through the belly pan, pulled this up and kind of set it out of the way, and I will drill the hole. And I'm using a 3/16 drill bit. And now I can set this back down in. Maybe. There we go. Come up through the bottom. And I'm just putting it on loose to begin with. as I still have to run all the piping. Alright, springs are all in place, connected. I've got all the coolant lines all tightened up. I have the hole drilled down there. I will tighten that bolt up a little bit later on. I just still want to be able to move it around a little bit as I install the tubing for and route everything through, so I can move stuff around a little bit. But that is it inside the machine. That coolant line down here, it is sitting on. I need to move that real fast, but there we go. So it's out of the way of everything, nice and loose, so it's not going to be rubbing against anything down in there. So should be good to go.